I borrowed this amp from a friend of mine. This is not a sponsored video. It's the Fender Pano Verb. It's not for everybody. But the thing I like about it, it changes me as a guitar player. I reach for stuff I wouldn't reach for because of the way I respond to it and it responds to me. So this video will be about several things. It'll be about the amp, a particular guitar, and the way you make music based on the inspiration that comes from a new piece of gear. Also, lots of people ask how I get in here, and this is the path. I'm going to use this guitar, which would be a signature guitar for me if I was interested in that. It was made in this tiny boutique area at Fender Corona called the Model Shop, and we'll talk about this too. So let me show you a couple of sounds really quick for just a few seconds, then we will dive in and talk about it. So the rhythm guitar part on this was kind of created by having a drum groove and having a particular sound on this amp. I have the 15 and the 10, but on the 10 I have the reverb only, so you can send the reverb just to the 10. And the way I have it panned, I have the 15 hard to one side and the 10 hard to the other, so when you play the part, the reverb just pops over here and it pops into the space. So I created a part with space. And I set the reverb so in time it would hit the space and do an effect just on one side. And then when I went to the lead part, I panned the opposite. I put the 15 on the 10 side, stay with me, and then I put the 10 on the 15 side so that they create space for each other. And then I stepped on a pedal so I'd get more sustain. And then I did this just because I love the way it sounded, this low part. Well, I guess this proves that I still love high gain sounds, but along with this big bloom on the bottom end, I'm also getting a very sweet singing single note lead tone. I have the drive knob set at 3, and the drive knob is great because it allows you to come up from the traditional Fender clean sound, which this does well. The volume's on 7, treble, middle, bass. Now the reverb has lots of control, and as I said, I have it split to the 10 only, but you can have it on both speakers if you want. It has treble and bass, and that really helps you EQ it the way you want. The reverb is after the preamp and before the power amps. It has 2 power amps, one for the 15 that's 50 watts, and one for the 10 that's 20 watts for a total of 70 watts. The amp is 61 pounds, which puts it in the same range as a twin or a super. Now we move to a really cool feature, which is the tremolo, which can be in stereo or mono. The side-to-side stereo image is pretty great, or you can just put it in mono and have it come out both speakers at the same time. So here's the stereo tremolo that goes from side to side in your speakers or your headphones. Here's a cool miking trick. Take a flashlight at an angle. You can see through the grill cloth. A lot of times the sweet spot is where the paper meets the cone, but here it was kind of right on the cone. You can see the diaphragm of the mic here too. Up here on the 10, same thing. We're more where the paper meets the cone on the 57. So yeah, just get it at an angle where you can see through. So let's talk about the pros and cons of this amplifier and why it might not be for everyone. We are in an era of silent stages. That means so many guitar players are required to use a Quad Cortex, a Helix, a Fractal, a Kemper, or a Fender Tone Master Pro. Devices like this that are totally silent just come through in-ears and the monitors. Now, when I was doing My club gigs, my weddings, and my high school dances, we would move a Hammond organ and a Leslie and a PA system, so we weren't afraid to lift very heavy things, but all that has changed. Now, Jack White and Third Man and Fender have made a very amazing sounding amp here, but it's also quite expensive. And from what I understand, Fender has to work very hard to manufacture these. There won't be a lot of them. They'll probably always be hard to get back-ordered and or sold out. But if this is something that works for you and this particular sound, it's a great piece of gear. But as a practical tool for a working musician, you might not ever go here because of how big it is, how much it costs, and how particular the sound is. And it's a great sound. It's great for me because it takes me out of my usual comfort zone and puts me in a different era. So yeah, I love it, but as a practical tool for the working musician, that's a different story. So this guitar starts with an alder body, lightly chambered to bring it in at just over 7 pounds. We have the Fender Panorama Tremolo. Scott Buell designed the bridge to closely match the 10 to 14 compound radius of the neck. On-off switch for the parametric, pickup selector. Over to the parametric, we have gain, frequency, and widths. You can see I've taped for my favorite settings. The neck, as I said, is compound radius. It's a rosewood fretboard with ultra-large dots, lumen lay inlays on the side, sitting on roasted maple and medium jumbo frets. And then lastly, the very cool reverse headstock, which I believe, and they convinced me, makes the top strings, the high strings, easier to bend. Plus, it looks really cool. Now, all that being said, maybe the most unusual thing is this is a 24.75 scale length. Most Fenders are 25.5. This is a Gibson scale length. I asked for it, and Alex Perez said, oh yeah, let's do it. Feels really, really good. So I've just set it pretty clean with a little bit of reverb. Let me turn on the trem. Okay, I'm going to turn on the drive. How about a little more? Okay, let's try the trim. Drive down, intensity up, speed down. Let's clean it up again. Still quite a bit of dirt in the bottom end. I'll take away some bass. Here we go. Volume down. Let's check this. Hey guys, a lot of the time YouTube will bring you my videos even though you're not subscribed. If you get the chance, click this subscribe button and ring the bell.